Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, a.k.a. Derringer. Today is Sunday, April 30th, and you are listening to episode 103 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside 2 news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. First up this week, I wanted to do a quick round of thank yous for people who have donated to the show or become a Patreon recently on Patreon. So some thanks go out to Mr. Smegs, Lanzer, and Rat Dog specifically. I appreciate all your support via both PayPal and Patreon. Also, a big thanks to everyone that is still using my Amazon link for shopping. Just doing your normal everyday Amazon shopping certainly adds up over time. So what is actually in store for this week's show? Well, first I have a quick interview with Lanzer and Pronam from Planetside Battles regarding the recent Planetside Battles, Daybreak Games and ESL announcement that I'm sure everyone has read or heard about by now. That's going to be followed by a PC Hotfix, a PTS update, and finally there are some new implants to talk about. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. All right, first topic this week, I was kind enough to be joined by two of the Planetside Battles guys, and if everybody has been living under a rock and is not aware of the announcement or the big announcement that was just made a few days ago, like I said, I got Lanzer and I got Pronam to come on this week's show and do one of my segments and talk about a little agreement that they have put together with Daybreak Games and a third-party company called ESL. So first off, Lanzer, thanks for joining me. Pronam, thanks for joining me. How are you both doing tonight?
Good. Doing really well. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, thanks. We're doing really great, especially after that announcement.
Yeah, so I don't want to hold back anymore. I want to talk about this announcement. So people that aren't aware, you guys put a post up on Reddit, and I guess it's been kicking around for a while now. Some people know or knew beforehand. Some people, this is the first they're hearing about it. But you guys have put together an agreement between yourself, Planetside Battles, Daybreak Games, parent company for Planetside 2, and this other company, ESL. What does ESL stand for? Do you guys, can you fill me in on that?
It stands for the Electronic Sports League.
So basically, it's an online sports, or it's an eSports league for all intents and purposes.
That's exactly what they are. They're an eSports league. They put together, they broadcast, and they feature competitive professional electronic sports teams, you know, the likes of which you hear on Dota, such as Complexity and Navi. And they're big into Counter-Strike, Dota, and I don't recall the other ones right at the moment, but those are the big ones that they constantly do the events for.
Well, I'm on their front page right now. It looks like the top couple games that they're listing are CSGO, Rainbow Six Siege, League of Legends, Rocket League, World of Tanks, things like that. So that seems to be the kind of company that Planetside 2 could be potentially in going forward, and especially you guys at Planetside Battles. I mean, how excited are you guys for this announcement, first of all?
Oh, well, for me, we've been in talks with ESL since June of last year. So it's one of those things that it's been a long time coming. So now that it's finally done and over with, and all the negotiations are finished for the time being, it's more of like a sigh of relief for me. and the rest of the team is we're trying to digest what needs to happen next, and really just look forward to making sure that this is a success at this point. So half sigh relief, half a little bit. What would word you use, Pronam? Contemplative, trying to figure out what needs to happen.
In a sense, for me, it was mostly, I actually have to temper the excitement a bit. I mean, I've been in the game so long, and we know, like with MLG in the past, you always have to wonder what's going to get out of it. And the first thing I kind of had to do with a lot of outfits that came to me right after I did the announcement, is just temper the excitement a bit, because it's amazing. But on the other hand, we have to look at it very carefully. So for me, it was a lot of tempering.
It's like a cautious excitement.
Yes.
Prudence.
Gotcha. So let's really talk about what is this agreement in general, and really what does it mean for you guys at Planetside Battles? What does it mean for Planetside 2 itself, and what does it mean for ESL, I guess, is the first question I want to ask about this agreement.
So in the end, it all boils down to exposure. Our mission statement, if you look on our website, our mission statement is about growing the game and showcasing the huge battles that take place every day. It culminated in our record-breaking event, the Guinness World Record match, and that was like the pinnacle of us showcasing what Planetside could do. So we wanted to find another way to help grow the game, continue growing the game in whatever way we can. And in the end, this agreement is about increasing exposure for the game itself, for Planetside 2, and ESL as well.
Mm-hmm. And so how are we going to see Planetside Battles, Planetside 2 start appearing on ESL, or do we not have all the details on that yet?
So the deal breaks down a bit like this. So Planetside Battles, really, I would say Planetside 2. When I say Planetside Battles, what I'm really talking about is our game, our community as a whole. Whatever word I use
the events that you host.
Right. So the Server Smash, Lane Smash, whatever it may be, our events that we host will receive a lot of exposure on the ESL Play mediums. So we're talking social media, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, their website. The ESL Play has agreed to rebroadcast / retweet / share and feature Planetside 2 on their website. And as is evident by the link that we put in our announcement post, there is now a global Planetside 2 page on ESL Game. And it was just created a few days ago by the ESL staff, so it will grow as we continue to liaise with them.
And I'll say I signed up for it, so
thank you, appreciate it.
It all works. I was able to join the Emerald server on it as well, so the instruction that you have in your Reddit post certainly worked for me. I did need to make sure I went on there and created an account first, in case people are curious.
Right.
But then after that, I was able to sign right up and get into the Emerald server. I'll do a little more exploring when I have some free time later and see what other stuff that they have.
Yeah, I appreciate it. The process is very simple. We tested it out ourselves first just to make sure that we knew exactly what the player would go through whenever we asked them to do this. Mm-hmm. It's about as easy as creating a Reddit account, and then you click a link in order to join a team on ESL Play, and the team corresponds with your server for now. We'll see what grows in the future. And what ESL gets in return is the player registrations is what it boils down to. ESL Play expressed an interest in improving and growing their member base. And one of the ways they do that is player registrations. So it's kind of a win-win in the end. We help them grow in their community. They help us grow our game by increasing awareness of Planetside 2. And the kind of third benefit is that we're currently understanding their tournament system a bit more and some of the benefits that it has to offer. So more on that as we explore just how far it goes and how we can incorporate that into our future events.
So like you're describing, it's pretty much a symbiotic relationship, to use a fancy word. You know, they're getting new subscribers, but they're also have existing subscribers that may have never heard about Planetside 2 or Daybreak Games before, and now could be introduced to that game, and it's a way to bring new players into Planetside 2 who could be interested in the game, like the game that we love. So yeah, I know it sounds like a good symbiotic relationship in that case. I'm curious. I wonder how many existing Planetside 2 players are already members on this. Like I said, I was not a member, but I imagine that there's probably some bleed over of people that are already active on this account that do play the game. But obviously that's something that none of us will know. I'm just kind of...
Yeah, I actually have already seen some people that were like, they were signing up and they were like, oh, apparently I already had an account.
Oh, I'm not surprised that, because every day, what do we do? Sign up for 100 different accounts that we don't even know about. So
yeah, that's exactly right.
So all in all, it sounds like a good little relationship that we have going. Thinking Planetside 2, because that's where my mind is going to focus, not on Planetside Battles, sorry, or ESL. Do you think that this could, in the future, bring any sort of new casting or viewing tools to Planetside 2? Back when I was doing or Community Clash type stuff, you guys remember Community Clash?
Oh, absolutely, I remember. I remember our roots, Derringer. I remember.
Thank you. That was forever ago. And one of the reasons that I stopped doing Community Clash is because the casting tools just weren't as good as I had wanted them to be. And I complained about them forever. And ultimately, nothing became of it. I'm just wondering if this could be the thing that pushes us forward into something like that. I'm curious what your thoughts on that. Obviously, you guys don't know what Daybreak Games could do going forward, but I'm curious your thoughts on that as well.
So at the end of the day, like you mentioned, we don't have insight into the developers' plans and how high of a priority it is for them to increase the quality of the observer cam or any sort of other factor that will contribute to our production value. However, what I would like to say is that although we don't have insight into their priorities, what we do know is that if this is as successful as we believe it will be, then it's definitely within the realm of possibility that the developers will take note of that, and if they see that, that this production that we do, that we put on Twitch and we rebroadcast through YouTube, that if they can enhance the tools that we use to create those videos and those streams to create an even better stream, then they have in the past been very helpful in helping us get to that point. It's just at the moment and they have been trying to improve other facets of the game. So what we've had so far has worked for us up until this point. Given the fact now that we are going to get a little bit more exposure, to what extent we don't yet know, but if we end up getting a lot of exposure and this ESL play relationship starts thriving, then the developers, I think it's completely reasonable to say the developers might do what they can to assist to help us create an even better production, so that when someone who hasn't looked at Planetside 2 or doesn't know anything about it, but they see it through ESL plays rebroadcasting, that they're instantly intrigued and interested with what we're trying to show them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see some of the stuff that they're doing with H1Z1 now, and I'm wondering if the platforms are similar enough that we could see some of that stuff migrate over to Planetside 2 at a later date.
Yeah, the developers in the past, we've talked about the different overlapping that can and cannot occur. So the observer camera, and there are a lot of different little facets of the game that, because it all uses forged light, that they've been able to pass those benefits on to us and and by us I mean our events.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think you're exactly right. And a bunch of other games do the same thing. The Eternal Crusade has done the same thing with their sister games as well. They've been trying to overlap as much as they can, because at the end of the day, the more you can overlap, the less cost it takes to be redundant and create similar efforts just for another engine, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. Now, do you know if there's any plans to bring what I like to call Daybreak Games' redheaded stepchild, PlayStation 4, into this type of arena in the future? Sometimes I feel like those guys get left out in the cold with some of the stuff that goes on the PC side, and I do like to be their voice in certain things like that. So, has there been any talk about the PlayStation 4 side at all?
I absolutely appreciate the question. So months back, I don't know if you recall, in the R Planetside 2 subreddit, I posted a question to the community asking them if they would be interested in supporting a PlayStation 4 Planetside 2 run for the Guinness World Record of largest players in one match. And at the time, I was in another location, another work site, and I wasn't able to take advantage of the overwhelming response that I got. And now that our team is sort of starting to beef up again with more volunteers, I definitely would not put it out of consideration that we would look to address our redheaded stepchildren, or our redheaded brothers and sisters.
I hate calling them that, but
yeah, but I mean,
they know it's out of love.
Our brothers and sisters on the console. I absolutely see a benefit in helping them and giving them opportunities as well, just like the PC. It's just a little bit harder with PlayStation 4, and trying to organize on a console is a little bit more difficult, and also there's considerations when it comes to updates and how we use the observer camera on console. So we have some details to iron out on the back end, but as far as the possibility is concerned, yeah, I think it's reasonable to say that we would not want to leave PlayStation 4 brothers and sisters out in the cold.
I'm glad to hear that. And if you do revisit that Guinness Records on the PlayStation 4, I got to get in on this one, because, of course, I missed the PC one, and I'm still salty about that. Because I wanted my stupid title, damn it, yet, even though I didn't participate. But, whatever. So I guess the next question, moving down the line, what and when will things end up eventually on ESL? Do we have any idea of a timetable for that?
The timetable is a bit in flux right now. We were looking as early as last week, but the timing didn't quite work out the way I had wanted it to, because we still had to set up the website. So right now, the admin team, we're talking about which match would be the ideal match to start off with in ESL play. And it's a combination of player size, or match size, who's casting. We love our casters, but Farah has been our long-standing caster for a long time. So ideally, we would like to feature our first match with him.
That's because he's so damn good at it.
yeah, he's very experienced. So it's a combination of all that. We want a pretty large match. We also want a match where we can get Farah in, and you want a competitive match, something that really shows it off. You'd ultimately love the Madison Watterson merger smash ending, right? Am I right? Yeah, just like that, just
without the lag.
And still have nightmares about your mirror.
I definitely want to mention that we're not trying to. I don't want that to be interpreted as we're trying to set up a match to be a show match. Really, we just want to keep doing what we've been doing. Just transfer a little bit of that on ESL Play, so that other people can see what we've been doing for these past 4 years now.
Oh yeah.
I started in 14, so 3 years. And really that just means whenever our schedule comes up here, we'll just draw a line and say, okay, we'll include this match, and then we'll see about the matches after that.
Well, I'm excited for it.
I am too.
That will definitely be a premiere topic on one of my podcasts when your first match goes live, and I will make sure that I am there to watch that as well, to see it all go down, because it's
June, brother. We've been talking about this since June of last year. So
it's very exciting.
You might be able to hear a little bit of exhaustion in my voice. Please don't confuse that, because I'm super excited at having that. I'm able to say now that we now have an agreement with ESL. The legal agreement is between ESL and Daybreak Games. That is, in my mind, a legitimate win-win scenario between the two that, in the end, just helps make each group better. And that has been our goal, to make Planetside 2 better, and I fully believe that this is a step in that direction.
I think it is too, because of the exposure aspect. Anytime you can get more eyes in front of something, and they always say there's no news is bad news, right? Or no publicity is bad publicity. You know, you're getting eyes in front of it. That's the important thing. Is there anything that I've forgotten except for how people can get on to the ESL site, which I'll definitely go over? Is there anything that I missed that you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap this up today?
I mean, I'll start, and then I'll let Pronam weigh in here. That, you know, we've been doing this since 2014, and we got the torch from other organizations who helped lay the foundation. Derringer, you were part of that torch.
I know, I was.
You know, Community Clash, and I don't know if you remember PAL, Professional Arena League with Vengeance, and then there's the Farmers League. So we are by no means the only group that has helped build this community, and we couldn't have done it without the people in the community and all the server reps that put in untold amount of hours to put this together. All of our events that we can say that we successfully did. We're at like 74 events now, I think we've done. But the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, this has been a community effort from the beginning. The only reason that the game is what it is because of the community, and my hat's off to everyone and anyone who has ever helped contribute to making the community better, whether it's a small article that you posted on Reddit that helped someone understand what Planetside 2 is and what it could be for them, or some of those really cool concept arts that used to be all over Planetside 2 about what the devs could include here and there, and tank ideas and armor ideas. You know, we may be the face to people who watch Twitch and to the viewers, but in the end, we all build it together. And thank you to the community for continuing to fight the fight all these years and keep the game alive. And that's what I wanted to say.
All right. Amen to that.
And props to you, Derringer, for continuing this podcast, bro. Look, how long has it been now?
I'm coming up on 2 years, but on this one. But if you count my Reachcast time, I started
that too.
I started I'll be going on 4 years now podcasting. So about Planetside 2, I can officially say that I am the longest running Planetside 2 podcaster. But I don't like to toot my own horn.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll toot it for you, man. Good job, Pronam. Do you have anything you want to weigh in on?
The only thing I like to say is just a little shout out to people that have been coming to us lately and trying to improve the production of things.
Absolutely.
I think that's something really important, especially as we're going into ESL. If there's anyone with suggestions that thinks that we can improve our production in any fashion, we're definitely going to improve our production already. Lanzer's been trying to get into other methods of showing different type of cameras at the same time, especially at YouTube, for example, now offering various ways just to show different perspectives of like Planetside. And the more of those things and more examples, and we can improve our production, the better it's going to be to ESL. So go for it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's always something that I've wanted to see, you know, the multiple camera angles and stuff like that. Something we tried to do on Community Clash, and I know stuff that you guys have been doing as well.
Yeah. I give my hat to Redolent. He used to be one of our admins before he retired. This was his professional career when it comes to producing and all that sort of thing. So he really helped lay the foundation for how we could effectively do that. But we're only just now finding some ways in which we can do it.
Well, I got to say, keep it up, because you guys have come a long way, and with an announcement like this is big. It's huge. You know, this is really big. So I guess just to end, I want to make sure that people know how to get to the ESL site, and I will include a link to your Reddit post in this week's show notes. But obviously, anybody who's looking to register on the ESL site, it's play.eslgaming.com, and you can register for a new account there. And then once you've registered your account, verified it via your email, there is links to join specific servers within the Reddit post. If those links don't work, there's a specific team ID and password in the Reddit link. I did it today. I signed up for Emerald, and I recommend anybody that's listening to my voice go up and sign up for a ESL Play account, so that when these things do go live, that you can start watching this and continuing to support guys over at Planetside Battles, and obviously Daybreak Games and Planetside 2 as well. So I guess just to close, I want to thank you, Lanzer and Pronam, again for coming on this week and just giving me the privilege of getting the information from the horse's mouth. Not to call you guys horses.
Yeah, the privilege is mine, man. It's good to talk to you again, and I'm really happy to see that you've been continuing this for all these years.
Well, I like what I'm doing, and I do what I like.
Likewise. Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks again.
All right, second up this week, I want to talk about the April 27th PC Hotfix, and this is just a small one, actually, because we saw a weapon adjustment to the NSX Yumi. We knew a lot of these things were on PTS, and now they've actually been pushed over to live, because I believe Rel had said that he felt the Yumi was not as competitive as they wanted it to be. So max damage got increased from 150 to 167. The minimum damage range was pushed out to 90 meters from 65 meters. The ammo capacity was reduced slightly down to 210, and the refire time went from 150 milliseconds to 250 milliseconds. And the big one, the delay before firing, which used to be a whopping 350 milliseconds, is now down to 250 milliseconds. So again, some changes to the Yumi itself to make it more of a usable, well, I mean, I saw that people had already Araxiumed it before these changes went in, so it's not like it was impossible to use the Yumi, but if anything, it should be a little bit easier to use. In my opinion, I still do not like the Yumi, and I am not going to be using it anytime soon. Next, for some bug fixes, I'm sure everyone had noticed that we had fidget animations in-game, and a fidget animation is, like, for example, for myself, my engineer, if I had the repair gun out, he would move the repair gun in front of himself and kind of rub dirt off it or something. They're kind of neat, you know, just something that happens when you're not doing anything else. But the problem is that they're not complete, and they are disabling them until they're more ready for prime time. The last thing on this game patch itself regards the Yumi fully loaded bundle, and that's regarding the smoke launcher, because a lot of people were not getting the smoke launcher account wide when buying the Yumi fully loaded bundle. So they have fixed that as well. So if you were not getting that, you can check your characters and you will see that it is out there. Also, something that wasn't talked about in this patch, but I know has come to live as well. If you are someone who use the virtual reality as a way to unlock all of the implants without actually paying for them, you have had those implants removed. So don't be surprised if you haven't logged in a little while and noticed that some of the implants that you had are gone and you need to try to reacquire them. So I'm very happy that they went out and did that, because I was annoyed that people got around it, even though I spent like 10,000 certs to unlock every implant on my character. So again, that's just one other thing. Even though it's not in the notes for this particular hotfix, I know that has made itself to live also. So that's pretty much everything that we've got in this hotfix. So let's move on to the PTS update. The PTS update itself dropped on April 25th, and it's just another round of very small changes. First, with the anti-vehicle grenade, it's now on the rocket launcher resist type. It was previously on the tank mine. Being on the tank mine resist type felt too strong to them, and the rocket launcher damage profile looks like a cleaner fit into the anti-vehicle grenade. This will also reduce the grenades to kill it is currently doing on PTS, and also means the Mine Guard no longer mitigates anti-vehicle grenades. So certainly a smart thing to do with the anti-vehicle grenades themselves. The C85 canister also got some changes, and again, these are all regarding the combined armor first round changes. Canister, the cone of fire was reduced to 1.3 on the Vanguard and 1.8 on the Harasser, so just tightening up the cone of fire on those a little bit. Gatekeeper should no longer appear to be stuck firing on remote clients. The Halberd had its crosshair reverted to grenade ballistics crosshair. And the final thing is they did another pass on Ickenham Biolab, and this, more than anything, is just an art update. And people have recommended that if you haven't been to Ickenham in a while, that you head on over there and go look at the new art update that came to Ickenham. So that's it for the PTS update. Like I said, it was a quick one, and it's really just to correct some more issues that they came across that they found based on playtests and things like that. And they've been having a lot of playtests. Stay tuned to Twitter. That's where they seem to be announcing the majority of them. I've seen some of them on Reddit as well. The big thing about these playtests on the PTS, if you've ever wanted to get your hands on the analyst helmet, something I have from participating in past PTS playtests, I do know that this past week, every time they did a playtest, they were unlocking the analyst helmet on players' live accounts. So if you're interested in that particular helmet, you should pay attention for more PTS playtests coming down the pipe. And with that, let's move on to topic 4. I'm sorry, not housekeeping. All right, topic number 4, we also saw, and this wasn't in the PTS patch notes, but another round of implants have made their way to the PTS. And we're guessing that these are probably phase 2 of the particular implants. And the interesting thing about these is that they are all class-specific implants. Now, let's roll through them and explain what they all are. And I'll give some thoughts at the end. So first up, for light assaults, you're going to get access to an implant called Aerial Combatant. And basically, killing an enemy as a light assault will restore 12% of your jump jet fuel or more based on the type of jump jet. That's at rank 1. When you get yourself up to rank 5, you go 12 to 15 to 20 to 30. And rank 5 is you restore 30%, and vehicle kills will restore an additional 20%. So something interesting that light assault players might actually use, because certainly restoring jump jet fuel is not a bad thing to have. Next, Combat Surgeon. This is going to be obviously for your medics. And basically, if you have this implant equipped, headshot kills are going to restore 15% of your nano regen device's energy. Rank 2 is going to be 18%. Rank 3 is going to be 23%. Rank 4 is going to be 30%. If you max it out at rank 5, its headshot kills are going to restore 30% still. But also, if you revive an ally, it's going to increase your resistance to small arms fire by 25% for 3.5 seconds. Sounds like a must-use item or must-use implant if you are playing medic an awful lot. I do like that one. Next up, Nanomesh Specialist. This is for your heavy assault classes. And what this will do at rank 1, it's going to reduce the delay before a depleted overshield begins recharging by 50%. Rank 2 is going to be 60%. Rank 3 is going to be 75%. And rank 4 is going to be 100%. If you max this out at rank 5, it's going to reduce the delay by 100% again. And also an active overshield will no longer halt energy regeneration. So I can see a lot of heavy assaults in the future running Battle Hardened and Nanomesh Specialist all the time. Next up is Nightmare, and this is for your Infiltrator class specifically. Killing an enemy while wielding a melee weapon will cloak you for 1 second. Note that this effect does not trigger on quick melee attacks. Rank 2 is going to be 1.2 seconds. Rank 3 it's going to be 1.5 seconds. And rank 4 it's going to be 2 seconds. If you max this out to rank 5, it's killing an enemy while wielding a melee weapon or while within 5 meters of your target. It's going to cloak you for 2 seconds. And again, this effect does not trigger on quick melee attacks. Interesting way to continue cloaking for infiltrators. And finally, the one that I am most interested in, this would be the Robotics Technician one, and this is for your engineers. Basically, non-mine deployables you own within 15 meters have a 10% resistance to incoming damage. Non-mine deployables are going to be your turrets or your hard light barriers. Rank 2, it's going to be a 15% resistance. Rank 3, a 20% resistance. Rank 4, a 30% resistance. And if you max this out like I will be doing as soon as I get it, your non-mine deployables are going to still have that 30% resistance. But in addition, you can have up to 2 active Spitfires or hard light barriers on the field at once. That one is very exciting. Spitfires are next up on my list of turrets. Either Spitfires or hard light barriers are next up on my list to Araxium on my engineer, or not, well, Spitfire or Araxium, hard light barrier. I'll do the directive for. But again, those are the 2 directives I'm looking at next. So I'm very excited to see Robotics Technician coming hopefully soon. I know people have been playtesting these on the PTS. I've been playing around, or I've been checking them out myself. I'm very interested to see them. I'd like to play around with them. So I guess my only thought regarding these is that some people are going to be extra salty if they don't unlock a specific one. And like, say for me, for instance, I play engineers a ton, and I would be upset if it took me a long time to unlock the Robotics Technician one. So I would only hope that maybe Daybreak Games would look at what classes you play the most, and maybe award you those based on the class you play the most. Maybe that's just a pipe dream for me, because I'd hate to be sitting there without Robotics Technician for the longest time. But maybe that's something that they can think about incorporating into these newest rounds of implants. And I misspoke a little. They're on PTS, but you can't get them currently on PTS. We can just see what they are. So nobody's playing with them yet. We're just all speculating on what they'll actually play like. Now, the other things about these coming to PTS, they were doing some tweaking on the other ones, and it came to light that Battle Hardened and Cat-like were both having their 5th rank removed. The folks over at Daybreak Games did clarify pretty quickly that that's a bug. So if you look there and see that those ranks are gone, Battle Hardened and Cat-like will still have their 5th rank. There is no plans on removing those anytime in the future. So don't be too concerned about it. So something to get excited about. I'd like to see these come to live as soon as possible. I like the idea of some of these different things, and the only one you'll notice is missing is there isn't one for Maxes. I would like to see them create some Max specific one as well, because there are a lot of players who play Max a lot. So I guess it's the last piece I have regarding these new implants on the PTS. So with that, let's move on to housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
All right, I did get one email this week, and it's from Matt9, and Matt9 writes, "Thanks for another great show. I am a bit surprised by all the changes to tanks. With the time to kill for several weapons getting so close, it makes me think that the tactical decision that a driver must make when selecting his gun is reduced. It now matters less who is prepared for the fight they are fighting. Additionally, tank sniping isn't good for the game, but sometimes tank battles at long range on the plains of Indar or Amrish are some enjoyable battles. I hope those are still viable after these changes, which seem to decrease the ranges on most weapon types. I have a question about cosmetic armor. Your show mentioned Doku's Nomad armor, which does appear somewhat bulky on the avatar. I was wondering if these types of cosmetic changes also change the hitbox for combat. It's something I have often wondered with the cosmetics in PS2. Thanks a lot for the continued podcasts." All right, Matt9, let's talk about your first paragraph there. It is going to make a lot less, the tactical decisions about selecting guns is going to matter a lot less when this comes out now. Obviously, when you're on live right now, if you're hunting tanks, you want an anti-tank weapon. If you're hunting infantry, you want a HESH, we'll use the new term, a HESH weapon. If you want a blend of both, you're using heat. So it is going to matter a lot less what you're choosing, except because of ranges, that might make an actual difference. I think that if you're on those plains of Indar or Amrish, you might still want to use the AP turret on your main battle tanks. Because if you've got all that open ground to cover, maybe a HESH cannon is not your best bet. Whereas if you're playing inside an area that does not have huge open fields, maybe HESH is the way to go. So it will matter a little less because every weapon's going to do similar damage, but I guess it all depends on the terrain that you're fighting in is where you're going to need to make hard decisions on what you're pulling out. As for the cosmetic armor, I'm under the impression that the character model is the same size no matter what the cosmetics are on them. So I do not believe that the hitbox changes whatsoever. You're just looking at something that's tacked onto the avatar, not the actual avatar itself. So I hope that's at least how it's been explained to me. So hope that certainly answers your question. Regardless, thanks again for the email. That is going to be it for this week's show. How can you get in touch with me or the show? Well, first, visit our website. It's www.instantactionpodcast.com. Send me an email like Matt9 did at instantactionshow@gmail.com. Call me, leave me a voicemail, 347-486-4772. That's 347-4VM4PS2. The show's Twitter account is at InstActPodcast, and my personal Twitter account is at The Derringer. So in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. And finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button.